Good afternoon, and welcome to the Raven House of Mysterious Happenings. In today's review, I thought I would read one of the books featuring a classic detective character who is well known to mystery readers of all ages. So, here we go. Nancy Drew, number 3, The Bungalow Mystery by Carolyn Keene. This book is part of the Nancy Drew Mystery Stories. It is the Yellow Book edition, which I believe was published in the 1960s. The story opens with Nancy and her friend Helen already kind of in peril. They're on a boat on a lake, and there's a storm brewing, and in the course of getting to safety, they are helped by a young girl by the name of Laura, who will later figure to be a central part of the mystery to come. Laura, as it turns out, is coming into a big inheritance from her parents, and she's about to meet her eccentric aunt and uncle, who she hasn't seen for quite a long time. And Nancy is kind of suspicious of the behavior of these relatives and wants to help out Laura in case things just don't seem right. Also, Nancy's father, Carson Drew, who's an attorney, is handling some legal work on a case that may also be linked to what's going on with Laura and the inheritance. Also, there's a character by the name of Don Cameron, who is a friend of Nancy's. Don actually took Nancy to the senior prom, and the two of them seem to have a nice friendship. Don is there to help when he can, and he's very impressed with Nancy's detective abilities. The bungalow itself kind of plays out in the end of the story, where we kind of learn everything that's happening. Like I said, there's plenty of twists and turns around this story. This is actually the first Nancy Drew book I've ever read. Growing up, I read all the Hardy Boy books, and I thought it would be good to finally tackle a Nancy Drew book and just kind of see the comparison. I found the Nancy Drew book to be really good. And of course, there's plenty of plot twists, and Nancy's a very competent detective. The story kind of uses more atmosphere and more kind of like, the mystery of there's a secret basement and what's going on with the family. The Hardy Boy books tended to be a little more action-packed, and Nancy Drew just seemed to focus more on investigation and technique, which definitely works. Both series are very good, and they've been around for a long time. I thought this was a good story, and it was very interesting. And there's actually some similarities between this and the Hardy Boys in way of style and the way the books are published. And on this page, I think you can see there is an illustration, just like in the Hardy Boy books, an illustration here of Nancy discovering the entrance to the basement. These illustrations, they add a lot to the book. They just kind of add to the tone and to just add to the story, and they do a great job. They're just like in the Hardy Boy books. They really add to the enjoyment of reading the story. So I felt that was worth mentioning. Well, that's about it for my review. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first Nancy Drew book I've ever read, and I enjoyed it immensely. Like the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew has been very popular for generations of mystery readers, and I can see why. She's a great character and a classic detective, and she deserves all the popularity that she has earned. Well, that's about it. Thank you, as always, for listening.